Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. All daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including $40 5% best bets. As an added bonus, all new users will receive $25 in wager bucks credited to their accounts, available for immediate use after their initial $9 Monday purchase. So make sure to take advantage of $9 Mondays at WagerTalk.com.
Happy Monday, guys. Welcome back right here to Wager Talk TV for another episode of Puck Time. It is Monday. We have two games to discuss, and I'll throw it to Carm. Man, Carm, how was your weekend?
Weekend was good, busy, just a lot of homework. Euros kick off on Friday, Italy and Turkey. So I have a lot of stuff for my clients that I'm getting ready. Just a ton of work going on, and then we had some great NHL games. Andrew, I can't believe you didn't come in with those confetti and everything else. Your Montreal Canadiens, kudos to you, man. They're looking good. Uh, I know you poked fun at me via text in my Winnipeg in 3 comment that I threw at you once. It was, obviously kidding around with that one, but it's been a good series. And that Vegas one, my God, absolutely phenomenal series that is shaping up to be a good one. It's just, how can you not love playoff hockey? Everything that's going on. It's not like it was in the bubble. It's not like it was in the year past where there's a ton of blowouts. These games are competitive, even if the final score line doesn't look like it was a competitive game. So another big week of games, and some very big game fives coming up.
Absolutely. As these series start to change, it'd be really interesting to see what happens here, especially in that Vegas series. Man, got to give a huge shout out, Carm, to a couple people in our comment section on Friday. We had at least 2 or 3 people comment and say, Vegas goes home and gets it done. Vegas goes home, ties the series up. They had their comment dripping with confidence, and they got it done, in different fashion in both games, but nonetheless, they got it done, tied that series up, and we head back to Colorado for game 5. Montreal Canadiens, super excited about that, obviously. I actually locked in the -1.5 games in the series, gave that out on the show as well. And for all of you guys out there saying I'm a homer, I've been giving out mainly totals wagers on this series, actually, besides that one series bet that I gave. So I'll just keep riding it and look forward to the future here. Hopefully things get closed out tonight, Carm. It's $9 Monday, guys, at wagertalk.com. You can find Carmine at wt.buzz/CB. You can find me with the same link /AM. Lots of plays going on, lots of Euro soccer action for the next weekend. I've got NBA. We've got tennis action going on. I've got an NHL best bet up tonight in the Islanders and the Bruins game. It's going to be a great night, guys. Looking forward to it. All best bets up there for just $9. And Carmine has a 5% play tonight in the NHL. You can grab, guys, of course, just for $9. Carm, let's kick things off. Let's start things off with the New York Islanders and the Boston Bruins. Of course, like we said, series tied 2-2. Islanders plus 165, Bruins minus 195. Total sits at 5. And it's funny because you watch these games right now in the East, and you watch the games in the North Division, and people, especially I would say, Carm, new hockey fans, they don't love low-scoring games. They don't love defensive games where goaltenders absolutely dominate and swallow the puck up, limit their rebounds. But I've been burned a few times on this total. There was a one point where I had a team total for the Bruins. They end up winning the game. Last time out, I had the game over 5. Luckiest push in my life. 2.6 seconds to go, and the total pushes at 5. It just has that feel. These two goaltenders are dominating this series. Where are you looking here in game 5, Carm, back at the Garden?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, Andrew, because I talked about, during the regular season, I always talked about the Islander sort of unders on the road and the Islander overs at home. And this series seemed to have been a reverse of that. The first 2 games on the road, 5-2 and 4-3, both over the total, and they were 5s, and I gave those 5s out to my clients. and then head back to New York. And I just, my theory is always going to be this: which team will enforce their will on the game and get them to play their style. And I thought it would be tough for the Bruins, for the Bruins not to play the same style they do. But the Islanders kept them at bay in Game 3, while they still lost the game. I think we were at like the 28-minute mark of the game, and Boston had a total of 6 shots on goal in that game, but and ended up with something like 41 shots on goal. They enforced their will on the Islanders, but it took half a game to get there. And in this last game, listen, this was anyone's game heading to that third period. And then, the Barzal goal at, with about 7 minutes left, it just set the Islanders on their way to winning. And yeah, you got those two late goals, Andrew, the empty netters that obviously helped you out with that total and pushed for anyone who had either over or under. So it's unfortunate for the ones who had under. I'm gonna, I got to go back to the well here with the over again, and look at this to be something similar to the first couple games of the series. This is a big game for the Bruins. I still think they're the best team in this, between these two in this series, and they've got to win this game, because if they head back to the Coliseum down 3-2, that pretty much could end their season. Give me the Bruins tonight, and I'm going to lean to the over in this game.
All right, Bruins with a lean to the over. And Carm, it's definitely been interesting to take a look at the home ice advantage and what it's brought to different teams with fans or without fans, or how many fans they have in the arena. Look at the Canadiens, just 2,500 fans, but the fan said when he got interviewed, it sounds like 25,000. And the Islanders, they have an atmosphere. So does Boston, but the Islanders have a crazy atmosphere as well. And home ice is definitely playing a factor, just like we're seeing in the Colorado and Vegas series. So it's interesting, like you mentioned, Carm, the way that we've seen these games start and the way we've seen them end. I know I've said this on the show multiple times. I'm getting people messaging me now on Twitter and mentioning me online. If you guys aren't jumping in on these third period overs, you're missing out on money. You're just strictly missing out on some of these awesome betting opportunities. And there's literally been games where I've bet the first period under and then came right back with a third period over in that game. Yesterday in the Colorado game, we see it again. I believe it was 3 goals in the third period. I've been taking over 2, making my own Asian line there, Carm. Been taking the 1.5 and the 2.5 in the third period, and it's cashing at a pretty good clip there. I'm going to take a look here at the total. I have a play up on the side at WagerTalk.com, but I'm going to agree with Carm. And I'm going to ride with the over again, because, I think it's been such a goaltending battle. And hats off, not just to Tuukka Rask, but Varlamov and what we've seen from the New York Islanders. But his defensive core has been so great for him as well. And I think the game plan is going to be a little bit different for the Boston Bruins this time around. It's not going to be as much carry the puck in. It's going to be a lot more dump and chase action. I expect a lot more gritty goals. So if you're looking for goal scorers tonight from the Boston Bruins, as much as their top players perform, I wouldn't be surprised to see some guys down the depth chart get some goals for the Boston Bruins tonight. Maybe look at a third liner type guy for the Bruins. But it's going to be a great game. Series tied at 2-2, going back to Boston.
Okay.
I'm leaning towards the over here, and you can find my side play just at wagertalk.com for $9. And Carm, I got to ask you,
Andrew,
how much have you been taking account into these home ice at all? Is it anything different for you than you would have during the regular season?
It's a different story in the U.S. I think you have to take those into consideration in the U.S. In Canada, they're just starting to allow fans back into the arenas, but home ice hasn't been as strong, and they talk about it. It's just not the same. To your point of the totals at 5. During the regular season and now in the playoffs, there have been a total of 34 games that the number was lined at 5. It has gone over the total 20 times, pushed 10 times, lost 4 times. So 30 to 34 times you've either come away with a win or push when playing over 5. It's only stayed under the total 4 times. So something to consider.
And let's not forget what we were talking about last week, Carm, taking a look at those exact props at 3-2, because we have seen a lot of pushes. There was a stretch where a lot of the fives I was giving out were just turning into pushes. So you can get some great value on betting the exact score as a little bit of a hedge there on the 3-2 for either side. Let's jump into the next game, the game, of course, that everybody knows I'm looking forward to talking about. It is Elimination Day for the Winnipeg Jets. But I'm not going to get too excited. And there's a reason why I've remained pretty calm, at least on this show. I've got my celebration in a little bit on Twitter, but rightfully so, Carm. People have counted us out for a long time. So I'm not going to act like this series is over, because anything can happen. We know what the Montreal Canadiens did last series. So maybe that, the Jets can do the same thing. I hope not. But we've seen some movement here. Open up -150, turned into -160 here. Do you expect this number to continue to climb, Carm?
I'm not sure how much more it could possibly go. It probably could hit 165. I don't think it's going to go to 170, because then you're just going to have people buying back on Winnipeg on that number. It's an interesting series in as much as the Jets. You look at let's look at the Jets first. They just haven't been in this series thus far. They come off a series against Edmonton, and I talked about this on Twitter, where they literally played a team that was trying to play regular season hockey in the playoffs. The Edmonton Oilers, it's the same thing that the Leafs did. And, I always poke fun at Toronto, but there are teams that just don't make that adjustment in the playoffs to play a defensive game. And Edmonton didn't do it. Edmonton played 200 feet of NHL hockey up and down the ice. And you saw Winnipeg getting a lot of odd man rushes against the Edmonton defense. If you have a good defensive corp and you have a good goalie, you can sustain those games. You can stay in those games. You can give up those chances. Mike Smith had a horrible playoffs. The defense didn't play well for Edmonton. And what happened? They were swept. Now they're playing a Montreal team that isn't playing that 200 feet of ice kind of game. They are playing a very methodical style in which, they started playing that against the Leafs. And we saw it in the last 3 games. They literally shut down everything Toronto tried to do. They're doing it to Winnipeg. Top 2 lines aren't scoring for Winnipeg. Nobody's scoring for Winnipeg. They have completely shut this team down, and there's been regression in goal. In that opening series against the Edmonton Oilers, Hellebuck, his PDO, which is like shot percentage, save percentage, was at 103, I believe it is. When you have a total that high, it's basically you're not as good as those numbers are stating you are. There's going to be a regression, and that regression is hit, unfortunately. Not only his fault, when the team in front of you isn't scoring, it's kind of tough, So Montreal's just doing exactly what they did in the last series, especially over the last 3 games. They've done it in the first 3 games of the series. This should end tonight. Winnipeg is going to have to play a lights out style of hockey. The Canadiens just continue to score first. They continue to play great defense, and Carey Price, he's having a very good series and a very good playoffs. So how can you go any further than that? If you look at the total, while everybody has been on the Montreal unders, I gave out the Montreal over to my clients yesterday, and I was pretty happy about cashing that one. So this is Andrew, elimination game. You could see 3 or 4 minutes of empty net again tonight that could push this over the total again. At 5.5, I won't take it. If the line comes in at 5, I'll take the over.
Absolutely. And I saw your tweet yesterday, and I couldn't have agreed more. I understood what you were saying, and it's been hard for me to give that exact same opinion as you gave on Twitter, seeing as I am a fan and people don't really think I'm giving it a professional opinion because of my fandom. But I agree with you. It's a regular season team versus a playoff team. But the Winnipeg Jets, I thought they were, the definition of a playoff team. They're very, very well built. They have size. They have speed. But I think we have to touch on for a second, before I jump into a few key things about the Canadiens, we have to jump into the lack of production from a couple guys on the Winnipeg Jets. The first guy we have to talk about, the guy they traded Patrick Laine for, Pierre-Luc Dubois. What has he done out there for the Winnipeg Jets that has been important? What has he done that's been 3 assists throughout the entire playoffs? This guy has not performed. This guy has not done well for his team on a large scale. He has disappeared on the power play. And even guys like Blake Wheeler, Kyle Connor, they're producing, but they're undeniably not getting the job done. And it's funny
Yeah.
because it's so ironic. The Canadians all year long, Carm, they were said, they can't give Carey Price the goal support or the run support like they say in baseball. And now you're pretty much seeing that with the Jets. Hellebuck is a great goaltender. He's doing what he can, and you can't lose games 1-0. You can't lose a game when a team scores just one goal. And that's what's happening to them in a couple different instances.
Yeah, listen, again, it's what we saw with Winnipeg against Edmonton, and I think we gave Edmonton way too much credit in that series.
Yeah.
Winnipeg had a fantastic series. They did exactly what they needed to do to make Edmonton look bad while making themselves look that much better. Think about how many times you saw Kyle Connor in that Edmonton series, up and down the ice, leading these
Hmm.
two on one rushes, these 3-on-2s. Have you seen any of that in this Montreal series? You haven't. Montreal has effectively taken out that line. I get it that Stasny's been missing. He's he has played. There's never any news on what that undisclosed lower body injury is, so we never know. He picked up a couple of really cheap penalties, and this is one of those
Yeah.
things that when you're not, I think, in 100% physical shape and you're not playing well, you pick up penalties because you're a step behind, and this is what's been happening, unfortunately, to the team right now. Is Montreal making Winnipeg look bad the same way Winnipeg made the Oilers look bad? Possibly. It's just one of those. It's one of those things. This has been a weird division, the North, but I must say, Montreal is playing playoff style hockey. They're not looking to win games 4-3, 5-4. They can win games 2-1. We've seen them do it. They're playing very well. They should get by and into this thing because listen, it's a 3-0 series lead. There's only been 4 instances in the NHL where a team has come back from being down 3-0 to win. I just don't see it happening here. And it's going to be the Habs versus the Avalanche or the Knights, and that should be a very good series. And the great thing is Montreal is going to get to play at home in the Stanley Cup semifinals because the Canadian government, just as a side note, has loosened the restrictions for American teams coming into Canada. They don't have to quarantine the 14 days. It's a different category of quarantine for the players, probably just stay in the hotel, but they can travel back and forth. So it's great for that Canadians fan base.
Absolutely. I think the Blue Jays will probably have something to say about that, Carm. They'll be wishing to get their team back at home, but I definitely agree. They'll be happy to be able to stay at home, not have to do any type of bubble format. And to your point, it definitely is just staying at a hotel. Definitely. But the big thing that the Dominic Ducharme, the guy that took over the job as a head coach, he's now has the label interim head coach for the Canadians. The biggest thing he stressed was puck support. And if you've ever owned any fish and you drop in that food into the bowl, you see all of them swarm towards it. Or you are out swimming in the ocean, you see a school of fish. That's what it looks like with the Montreal Canadiens playing defense right now. It is puck support, it is everything all in together. And everybody says that they're just sitting back, but that couldn't be more wrong because they do have plenty of forecheckers. It's just when that forechecker gets beat, right away there's somebody else there to check that guy. If that guy gets beat, there's somebody else there to check in on that guy. It's a complete team effort in the corners, the zone exits. Having said that, I will say that, and this, I said the exact same thing as I did it in Game 7 of the Maple Leafs and the Canadiens, and I'm going to say it again here. In elimination games, Carey Price has an unbelievable goals against average save percentage. He has always shown up for his team. And Hellebuck, we know how talented he is as well. This is called the line change game for us on our segments, but it could also be called the dump or chase segment because let's be honest, the only people betting Winnipeg tonight are the people that have been chasing them since game 1. The only people that are betting Winnipeg are the ones that have been betting them game 1, game 2, game 3, and they feel like they have no choice but to go back for game 4. I'm looking at the first period under at -110 or -115 for this game to be absolutely locked down, shut down, defensive game, shots from the outside, both teams very hesitant, very defensive, and kind of letting that game come to them. I do not picture an elimination game where the Habs can move on and the Jets will get swept being a shootout type style of game. And having said that, there's a good chance I might look at that third period over. If we go into that period with a 1-1 score or 1-0 score, 2-0 score, I really do feel like we will see a slow start to this game. And I've had a great read on these totals with the Canadian game. So I'm looking at that as well. Quick update on this stat, though. It is now, Carm, 19 straight wins for the Habs if they score 3 or more goals for price. 19 straight games. And they also haven't trailed since game 4 against the Maple Leafs. Fun fact as well, people always talk about prospect pools. Canadians have 8 goals from players aged 21 or younger on their team. 4 shorthanded goals, tied a franchise record in the playoffs, and six straight games without trailing at any point. All of these things, their numbers, their stats. What can we think will change from one game to the next? And that's really the biggest question we have to ask ourselves. So as far as the totals go, Carm, do you agree with me that if, Winnipeg stands a chance, I don't think it's going to be in high scoring fashion?
Yeah, no, I don't. I think they have to change their mentality of how a game needs to be played. Stop trying to look at it this way. It may sound stupid, but stop trying to outscore the Canadians by going up and down the ice, and just grind it out. Sometimes you need those grinded out wins. I think back to um, the last time a team overcame or one of the few times a team overcame a 3-0 deficit, the Philadelphia Flyers against the Boston Bruins. And they did it by grinding out some 2-1 wins, a 2-1 win, a 4-3 win, a 2-1 win. And there were games that were low scoring into the third period. This team has to forget about that series against Edmonton and play and have a different mentality. Sometimes you can't make that switch. And maybe it's just the fact that Montreal has made Winnipeg look bad. Maybe they've made him look like an inferior team. We have to give credit where credit is due. Sometimes we don't always do that. Not to go off on a tangent, but you know me, I always do, guys. After those first 2 games in Colorado, I just thought to myself, even though I took Vegas in game 3, I thought this Colorado team is going to be extremely tough to beat. And now that series is tied at 2 because Vegas made the adjustments that needed to be made to get back into this series. And that is now a best of 3 series. So it's fantastic hockey. It's the same thing with the Islander series. I'm just overjoyed with the hockey that we are seeing, Andrew, right now. So we'll see. Hopefully these games aren't duds tonight. Hopefully they're 2 very good games. And tomorrow we know Buster and you are on
Yes.
tomorrow, and you're both Montreal fans. So you guys are either going to be hungover or very entertainable tomorrow. Is that even a
It's gonna
word?
be a fun night in my household, that's for sure. And Carm, like I said, a series is never over until you lose a home game, or in doubt, I guess, you lose a home game, and they got it done. I'll tell you one thing: the Maple Leafs didn't miss this year in the playoffs. Nazem Kadri getting suspended because he just has a knack for doing that in the playoffs, and I think the Colorado Avalanche are really missing him. But we'll jump into that tomorrow on the show as well. Time to jump in for some player props. I know Carmine has one coming up for a best bet of his. I have a few to give out here on the show. 2 in the Bruins game, 1 in the Canadiens game. And let's start with a goal scorer, Patrice Bergeron, plus 175 to score a goal. Out of the quote unquote perfection line, Marchand and Pasternak, those guys, the odds are a little bit lower on those guys. I shopped around. You can find some decent prices at some books, but the consensus, the odds aren't nearly as good on Pasta and Marshy as we see on Bergeron. And I think this is one of those games where everybody's going to be aware of who the passers are and who the shooters are. And I'm looking at the passer to get a goal here tonight, Patrice Bergeron, to find some open net here, plus 175. And the next one, well, like I said, sometimes the shooters turn into passers. And I think Brad Marchand, it's a little bit underrated, his passing abilities and the way that he can find his teammates. We cashed last time around. Let's do it again. Over 2.5 shots, guys. Get this done, but I also feel like he will be passive. So maybe do some of those off the pad type of plays, just looking for a rebound type of shots and not as much going for like the top corner type goals. So over 2.5 shots for him. And Cole Caulfield, over 2.5 shots from the Montreal Canadiens. I was on this several weeks ago. I slowed down with it. And then all of a sudden, I read into some reports, the media, the coaching staff, his teammates, all saying Cole has to shoot more. We want to have confidence in Cole. I don't know if it's because he's new to the team, but he's in the playoffs. He's a real deal. He's on this team now. He was being too cautious and passing the puck more. He's got 5 shots in one game, 6 shots in the next. He's got 11 shots in his last 2 games. I expect nothing else but lots of shots from him again tonight. Over 2.5 shots for Cole Caulfield. Let's cash these props, guys. 3 in a row for you right there. Bergeron, Marchand, Caulfield. We got 2 overs on shots and Bergeron to score a goal. I'll send it over to you, Carmine, for any promos you have and your best bet on the show.
Yeah, I'm going to, one play up tonight in NHL. As you know, it's a 5% play. We're 3-1 with 5% plays in the playoffs this year. So let's see if we can hit that 80% mark and go 4-1. Obviously, the Euros kick off on Friday. There's 51 games in that tournament, all on TV in the States on ESPN. There'll be 9 o'clock, noon, and 3 p.m. games up here in Canada, CTV and TSN. So you'll get to see every single game. I've got a package where you get every single play, also props, futures bets. There's 16 different props, futures, and games posted, including a 5% play for the weekend. That's part of that package. So you can pick up that tournament package on my page over at WagerTalk.com. I'm going to go with a player prop as well, too. And in this Bruins game that we're talking about, they're back in Boston. Sometimes a player needs to come home to find the best Italian restaurant. And with that, we're going with my man, the pasta, David Pastrnak. Let's get a goal from him at plus 150. He scored 3, I think, in that first game. He got a hat trick in that first game against the Isles. Sometimes the home cooking is a little better. Let's see if he can find the net tonight at plus 150, and let's get off to a better start than the best bets for me, at least, were on last week's show. So let's see if we can kick it off with a winner tonight.
Awesome stuff, Carm. Best of luck with your 5% play tonight. I have one play up in the NHL posted at WagerTalk, and after this show, I'm posting a 5% play in French Open action that goes tomorrow morning. That's early Tuesday morning, so make sure you grab that now on Monday at just $9. Same thing with Carmine's best bet. His 5% play, just $9, guys, every Monday, every play, only $9. I told you guys I really like that first period under, but I'm also running with the full game under. I'm going to go with my best bet as the under 5.5 here. I don't love laying this juice with totals. The Habs have been a huge under team, and I don't think they'll go away from their identity. I think they'll go back to who they are. They'll go back to the defensive team. If they get a lead or 2, they are going to sit on that and they're going to protect it. People hate slow hockey. People hate defensive hockey, but it has looked to be pretty successful for this team. Give me the under 5.5 for the Canadiens and the Jets tonight. Carmine with Pastrnak to score, plus 150, guys. Best of luck with all of your wagers across the board tonight here on this Monday. I hope you guys all have a winning week and a successful week. On behalf of Carmine, all of our producers right here, best of luck tonight. And go Habs, go.
Sign up for for the free WagerTalk text club to gain access to free plays and exclusive discounts. Just text WagerTalk to 33222 to sign up and get a $10 coupon to use on WagerTalk.com.